and welcome to the 61st episode of UPSC Prep Decoded, a podcast brought to you by Abhyankar's IS so that you can study on the go. I, Anjali Pandey, your host for today, would like to welcome Ashay Abhyankar to this conversation.
Thanks, Anjali.
So, sir, looking at the BRICS expansion, which India has viewed as a positive step, aligns with India's policy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. How beneficial is this expansion from the Indian and the global perspective?
Right. So, since we've started from Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, India's concept of non-alignment today has translated into multi-alignment, keeping in view the changing geopolitical situations. So, in principle, the expansion of the BRICS seems to be a very good idea. 40 new members have joined the BRICS currently. This is also good for the BRICS as an organization conceived in 2004. As originally being the BRIC, these were economies that were emerging in terms of the economies of scale and also in terms of the growth in their human resources. So having said that, this expansion holds in good stead. However, now there are certain challenges because when we look at India's concept of multi-alignment, the very important parallel to it is the concept of strategic autonomy. Now, this strategic autonomy is important in India's engagements, whether they be at a multilateral forum or a minilateral forum. So, most of the countries that have joined in as new members in the BRICS expansion in 2023 are prominent countries of the global south. This is important for India because it sees itself as the very natural champion of the global south initiative, something that it has been actively pursuing in its foreign policy today. But you must understand that these 40 members that have joined the BRICS also have their multilateral, bilateral relationships, which need to be balanced with other countries. For example, Iran, which has very strong bilateral relations with China and has had historic strong bilateral relations with India as well. Also, you have India needing to honor its unilateral partnerships with different groupings, like for example, a security initiative like the Quad. So in the entire concept of the Act East, Link West Asia, India needs to tread very cautiously to ensure that it is not overshadowed by China and it is able to reclaim its space in global multilateral forums like the BRICS.
So, sir, keeping this expansion in mind, how does India balance between the ideologies of the West and that of the East?
Yeah, you see the balance of ideologies is crucial with the concept of strategic autonomy and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam that you just mentioned. So India is not going to move towards any sort of alliance. So we are only focusing on alignments which are strategic, economic and the like. So the alignment balance is not going to be too difficult. It is going to pose a challenge primarily to deal with other countries which are a part of this expanded grouping, with whom India has been having certain tensions in bilateral relations. For example, the ongoing border crisis with China, wherein India has also been taken a very firm stand to ensure that normalcy on the border is one of the most critical factors to initiate dialogue processes again. But at the same time, you must understand that there are multiple initiatives being taken by China to try and ensure that they are able to overshadow Indian presence, particularly in South Asia, whether they be the Belt Road Initiative, which tries to challenge the sovereignty of India as the road passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. So we have to counter with multiple of these real-time challenges and see how we need to balance them. As far as our foreign policy is concerned, we are steadfast. Non-alignment in today's context is multi-alignment. Strategic autonomy has always been the dictum that India has stood by. And we, in the modern age, in contemporary times today, have the political, social, economic and cultural legitimacy to claim ourselves as an emerging superpower of the new millennium.
My last question would be, how important of a role do organizations like BRICS or BIMSTEC or SAARC play in today's geopolitics?
You see, it's very important because you must understand that when we talk about concepts of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, it is important to bear in mind that nothing in a globalized world order can be done singly. right? So you are going to need like-minded stakeholders, you are going to need partnerships, you are going to need certain sort of alignments, economic, strategic and the like, to ensure that the benefit of these relationships can be reaped by mankind as a whole. One very good example of this is the pandemic. You see, it saw the entire global world order come together, stand shoulder to shoulder, look at systems of COVID management, learn from each other in terms of disaster recovery, mitigation, relief, resilience. So I believe that the globalized world order is going to need itself to come together, use principles of equity, fairness and justice, and evolve a rule-based order that is going to be beneficial for mankind as a whole and for humanity at large.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this podcast, do like, share and subscribe. Your inputs and suggestions are always welcome, and you can contact us through info@abhyankaris.com. Show us some love on our Instagram, Facebook and Twitter handles that go by the name Abhyankars IAS. Do not forget that these podcasts are also available on Spotify, Google and Apple Podcasts. Keep listening and stay tuned for more.